We all want to be fearless, calm under pressure, clear-headed when everything around us is on fire, being able to overcome our fear, to take the step we've been avoiding for years, to finally dare to change our lives. When it comes time to act, we get scared, and we do nothing. Then we watch movies, anime, TV shows, read books, and we see characters who seem to have no idea what fear even is. Heroes who look fearless in every situation, as if the fear function was never installed in them, and questions starts running through our minds. How can they be like that? What's wrong with them, or what's wrong with me, and how the hell do I become like that? So, how do you actually defeat fear? Why do some people look like they don't fear at all? What do they understand about fear that most of us completely miss? So let's figure it out. Nature gives us comfort, love, joy, but along with that, fear, anxiety and pain. And this is not some mistake of nature. Actually, it's an important survival mechanism. Once fear saved our ancestors. It forced them to run from predators, to search for food, to stay close to fire for warmth. Fear meant life in ancient times. But today the world has changed. There is no saber-toothed tiger that can kill us in a minute. There is no fear of freezing to death overnight or starving tomorrow. But today fear didn't disappear, it evolved together with us. Today we fear not getting a good job, being alone, being worse than others, people's judgment, change, the unknown. And again, all of this is totally normal, because fear once helped our ancestors survive. For example, why are we so afraid of judgment? No one will kill us for our opinion. Probably we won't die. But if you look deeper, this fear has roots in the past. For our ancestors, rejection and judgment meant exile from the tribe, and that was equal to death. At that time, surviving alone was almost impossible, so being alone meant to die, probably in agony. That explains our fear of being rejected. Rejected equal being alone equal death. And the brain never forgot it. Many other deep fears are also connected to our past as a species. Another example, poverty. We are not afraid of just having less money. We are afraid of losing comfort, falling out of our social circle, ending up lower than others. Economic status today is the modern equivalent of your place in the tribe. And everyone wants to be as high in that hierarchy as possible. Okay, we got that fear is our nature and it's all normal and blah blah blah. But the main question is, how do you stop being afraid? How do you stop feeling fear? The answer is simple and unpleasant. You don't. There are no fearless people. I know this is not what you expected, but it's not something new. Knights were afraid before battles, warriors were afraid before every fight. Fear has always been present in everyone, even in those we call fearless. They all feel fear. I had the chance to talk to Ukrainian soldiers from the 12th Azov Brigade, who fought in the hottest and deadliest zones of the Russian-Ukrainian war, and I asked them directly about fear. After 4 years of active combat in the most dangerous places, did fear ever disappear? They said something simple but important.
Fear never went away. It was always there. Over time it became duller, not because it disappeared, but because a person adapts. But before every new mission, before every entry into a combat zone, fear returned.
And that didn't make them weaker or worse warriors. Believe me, these are the strongest people I ever met. They said that fear made them more attentive, more focused, more alive. Even those big and strong guys can feel fear, so you can't just switch it off. We can change human nature, but how can they do what they do? The difference is not that they aren't afraid, the difference is that they don't run. They walk side by side with fear, they act when they are afraid. That's what separates them from others, not the absence of fear, but the ability to act while it's there. Fear doesn't disappear with experience. With experience, the illusion that it should disappear does. So probably you're wondering, how am I supposed to act with fear if fear makes me freeze? Yeah, let me explain. How I already said, fear itself is useful. It helps us be careful, understand risks, risks and stay away from danger. But you might ask, so what about situations where fear becomes so strong that people panic and can't act rationally? Yeah, fear has a limit. As long as it's controlled, it works for us. Once it crosses that line, fear turns into paralysis, terror and panic. And that's when it takes away our ability to think clearly and act. Fear alone doesn't stop us from surviving. Too much of it does. The paradox is that most fear actually benefits us, especially the fear of death. Being afraid of death is normal and useful, but in tough situations when this fear grows too strong, it can rob a person of the chance to save their own life, the very life they are so afraid of losing. Let's take a simple everyday example. Imagine a street fight. Someone attacks you, there is danger. A healthy level of fear makes you alert. You cover your head, you move, you push back, you try to escape, you survive. But if fear takes over completely, the person freezes. They look up, they don't block, they don't move, they don't fight back. They make no decision, and they get hit again and again. To survive, they have to act, cover up, step back, strike, run or do something. Yes, any action carries risk, but doing nothing guarantees damage. In this case, fear didn't help, it prevented survival. So yeah, being too scared is bad. But the question is, how can we reduce fear so that we can work side by side with it? To learn how to work with fear side by side, you need to do one simple but uncomfortable thing. Look it straight in the eye. No self-deception, no excuses, answer honestly. What exactly am I afraid of and which fear do I want to overcome? Not abstractly I'm scared, but specifically. For example, you're afraid someone might beat you up on the street. Maybe it already happened once. And now every time you leave your house, there is this background feeling, what if it happens again? Here's the important point. Fear comes from lack of control and from uncertainty. You don't know what to do, you don't know how to defend yourself, you don't feel the situation is in your hands. Now imagine something else. You train in contact sport for a year. Boxing, wrestling, MMA. You learn to take a hit, you learn to defend, you learn to act under pressure. And what happens? You feel much assured. Fear doesn't disappear completely, but it becomes much smaller. Why? Because you prepared yourself for a situation like this. You've been in similar situation during training. You know how to move, how to defend yourself. You know you're not helpless. And it works with everything. You're afraid of speaking in public? You freeze and lose your thoughts? Speak in front of a camera, speak in front of a small group, speak in front of anybody. You're afraid of job interview, you don't know how to answer? Write answers to common questions, do mock interviews. All of this reduces your fear because you make the situation familiar to your brain, and the brain understand how to act in them. So, to reduce your level of fear, you should train with your fear. And one more thing to say. All those internet courses, motivation videos or any other bullshit love to repeat, tell yourself you're not afraid of anything. Believe that fear doesn't exist. You are fearless. Actually, I totally disagree with this, because it's self-deception. If you keep convincing yourself that you're not afraid of anything, and then in real life the moment comes when you're truly scared, it hits even harder. You don't just feel fear, you feel like something is wrong with you, like you don't live up to the image you painted of yourself. And then fear becomes double, plus disappointment, plus anger at yourself, because you expected one thing from life, and it turned out to be something else. That's why I believe you don't need to call yourself fearless. You don't need to play a role of someone you are not. It's better to accept a simple truth. You feel fear, and that's okay, rather than disappoint yourself when a real situation comes. I would like to share my personal experience. I've been afraid all my life. Fear has always been with me. I was afraid of simple things. Speaking in public, taking responsibility, and fear was always with me. As a child, I thought it would disappear, that I would grow up and fear would go away. But when I grew up and it was time to act, fear didn't disappear. It was exactly the same, only the problems changed and fear shifted onto them. And then I understood something important. Fear doesn't need to be defeated. You don't need to wait for it to disappear. You just need to accept it as a part of yourself, not as an enemy or as weakness, but as a signal. Fear isn't there to stop you, it's there to show show you this matters. And if you learn not to run from it, but to act alongside it, it actually stops being burden. And remember one important thing: nothing happens quickly. If the fear you're trying to deal with has been with you not for a day, not for a month, even not for a year, and is also reinforced by painful or traumatic experience, you won't get rid of it with one phrase, one motivation video, or the right mindset. That's not how it works. What's needed here is consistency. You have to train your body on regular basis to act even when fear is present, because dealing with fear is not something magical and not a moment of sudden clarity. It's a habit. We condition ourselves again and again to do what needs to be done in the presence of fear, not to wait for it to disappear, but to act together with it. I truly hope that something from this video helps you, even a little. Every one of you who clicked on this video has already taken a good first step in facing your fear, because you're searching for a way to deal with it. Millions of people feel fear every single moment, and each of them carries their own struggle and handles it in their own way. So remember one simple thing: you're not alone in what you're going through.